As the dust settles, all that remains is the echo.
Alright y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so today we're checking out something from the Ahoy YouTube channel. Now we've checked out a few of their videos from the Iconic Arms series. Now I don't think they've uploaded one of these in a while, so now that they uploaded a new one, I was pretty freaking hyped. I saw the actual recommendation on my subscriber feed, which is kind of rare, but of course a lot of y'all sent it my way as well, so I do appreciate that. But this one is all about the Barrett 50 cal. Now the Barrett 50 cal is definitely iconic, but it's not necessarily like as old as some of the other firearms they've checked out on the Iconic Arms series. So I'm not sure how many like old video games we'll see the Barrett 50 cal in. But yeah, movies, yeah, we'll probably see a few of that as well. But I'm excited. Let's check it out. I missed that intro. 20 cal to
wound a man, 30 cal to kill him. A good rule of thumb for rifles, and one that's held true for a century.
I don't know, what game was that? Was that like Sniper Elite or something? It just goes through that helmet like freaking butter, dude.
A good rule of thumb for rifles, and one that's held true for a century.
I don't know about that.
But every rule has exceptions, and sometimes you need an exceptional rifle. Barrett are an American firearms manufacturer, best known for their 50 caliber rifles.
Hell yeah.
So what's the need for such a powerful round? Where did the idea for a shoulder-fired 50 caliber rifle come from? And how on earth do you manage the recoil?
Pretty easily, actually. It's not too bad.
World War I was a wake-up call for militaries of the early 20th century.
I don't know why. I feel like I've just never seen World War I typed out like that. But, okay, so also quick background as far as my experience with the Barrett. I wasn't a sniper or anything. However, I was in the recon platoon, and we had the snipers attached. And they would always do their sniper ranges, and we'd always kind of like show up and get to like cross-train on all the different weapons. So it was pretty fun. But, yeah, the 50 cal, I would say the most exciting thing about the Barrett 50 cal is what it does to a target. If you're shooting at paper, it's not going to be that exciting. And shooting steel is a little bit more exciting, especially with how hard the 50 BMG actually hits. But yeah, when you get to see it like shooting concrete or other things, because it is an anti-material rifle, that is pretty insane to actually watch. But yeah, actually like shoulder firing it's just like shooting a machine gun. Like the throw kind of wears off pretty quickly with a lot of different guns like that.
For militaries of the early 20th century, new technology brought radical changes to the battlefield. Aircraft, radio, artillery, and tanks.
The old school tanks.
Early tanks were heavy and slow, but their armor was not insurmountable. Half an inch of hardened steel at most.
Oh damn, okay.
By 1917, the Germans added a steel core to rifle rounds, called the K-bullet, to better pierce this armor.
Damn.
In response,
wait, what the heck? In 1917? I mean, I guess it makes sense, but whenever I think of tanks in World War I only think of Germany for whatever reason. But yeah, so they developed a bullet just to penetrate that. That's kind of messed up to think you have like that safety and security and all of a sudden the bullets start going through.
Armor became thicker, rendering conventional rifle calibers ineffective.
Okay.
So, the Germans devised a larger caliber, the 13.2 by 92mm tank and Flieger round.
Jeez,
it was intended for a machine gun, but the bolt-action Mauser 1918 T-Gewehr was made to serve as a proof of concept.
That thing is shoulder fired?
This
what the heck?
was the first anti-tank rifle.
That thing looks like it's going to hurt.
Much larger and heavier than conventional rifles, and with punishing recoil, but it was able to reliably penetrate 26mm of steel armor, and was a major threat to tanks.
That's pretty impressive.
The Americans had taken notice. Their 30 cal machine guns were proving less effective against armored planes, so they tasked John Browning to develop a new round.
When was that? What year was that?
Inspiration was taken from the French 11 by 59mm Gras round, which had proven effective against observation balloons, and captured examples of the German 13.2mm rounds.
Okay.
The 50 Browning machine gun cartridge was the result, with a half...
I never knew what BMG stood for. I mean, I know it was originally a Browning... is for the Browning machine gun, but I mean, it says it right there. BMG. Yeah, okay. Wow, I don't know why I never thought of that.
Inch, 40+ gram bullet.
Jeez.
At muzzle velocities exceeding 2,700 feet per second. Prototypes were finished and ready for testing in November 1918, just as World War I came to an end.
Okay, damn, that was actually a lot quicker than I thought. Still the same time
The first
frame.
weapon to fire this new round was the M1921, a water-cooled machine gun, an upscaled M1917.
Looks like the
improvements to
M2
the
with
recoil buffers.
the water
Its
cooling
immense
chamber.
weight, 55 kilograms with water, made it difficult to wield, and issues with early cartridges meant
No
the rate
kidding.
of fire and muzzle velocity were suboptimal. So, while the M1921 was adopted in limited numbers by 1929, development continued on the 50 cal platform. The
Good
result was the M2. Air-cooled with a variety of barrel options, the improved
Nice. Although I think technically this is the silhouette for the newer M2, because I know the front end changed slightly, because you don't have to check the head spacing and timing and whatnot. If you ever want to trigger an old school machine gunner, just tell them that nobody cares that they had to check the head spacing and timing of their M2. And they'll probably have something to say about that.
design entered production in 1933. During World War II, the M2 saw extensive use. Mounted to aircraft, ships, boats, armored vehicles,
Yeah.
or on a tripod for infantry use.
Hell yeah.
It was a workhorse, earning the affectionate nickname of Marjuice.
Yes, sir. Now, I tried looking up the history for the nickname of Ma-Deuce. I mean, M2, Ma-Deuce, sounds like it makes sense, but it's pretty rare that a firearm is so well loved that it gets a nickname like this. But I tried looking it up and I couldn't find anything like definitive. So if you guys happen to know, then let me know. I might just have to go to the Forgotten Weapons YouTube channel and try and figure that out.
By this time, tank armor had advanced to the point where even anti-tank rifles were ineffective. A man-portable
51
weapon
millimeter?
with sufficient
Damn.
kinetic energy simply wasn't possible.
Holy
Instead,
cow.
high-explosive anti-tank weapons, rocket launchers such as the Panzerfaust and bazooka, became the infantryman's counter to armored vehicles instead.
Yeah.
The era
That's a
of the
good call.
anti-tank rifle had come to an end.
The rifle would just start breaking your shoulders now.
The
They had
M2
to get
Browning
bigger and
had
bigger.
established its own niche, however, that of the heavy machine gun. In fact, it remains in service to this day.
Yeah, and that thing
Its
is not
powerful
going
round,
anywhere anytime
stable
soon.
platform and heavy barrel also conferred favorable characteristics for long-ranged, accurate
Oh,
fire.
dude, Carlos Hathcock.
The
I hope
weapon
he
was equipped
mentions
with a
that.
telescopic sight as early as the Korean
Hell
War,
yeah, there
but the
you
most
go.
famous demonstration of the M2's long-range ability came in 1967 in
Yep.
Vietnam. A US Marine Corps
Yes.
sniper,
Hell
Carlos
yeah.
Hathcock, achieved the longest confirmed sniper kill
Yes,
with
he
a
did.
scoped M2. 2,200.
Again, I still think that he got this kill when he was firing on somebody who was riding a bicycle. So I'm pretty sure it was a moving target, which is even more impressive. But yeah, it's like so innovative. Let me just take this scope and put it on this machine gun.
50 meters. A record that stood for 35 years.
Oh, damn, I didn't know it was that long. Holy cow.
In 1982, Ronnie G. Barrett was a professional photographer in Tennessee. He was taking some shots
Interesting.
of a river patrol boat with mounted M2s when inspiration struck.
Huh.
He pondered the commercial viability of a shoulder-fired,
gosh.
semi-automatic 50 caliber and sketched his plans for a new rifle.
That looks cursed.
Most people he approached about his idea were skeptical. Why would anyone need a 50 caliber rifle? Perhaps the naysayers
Why
were
not?
right, but
It's
he
America,
eventually
right?
found manufacturing partners, and some 4 months later, he had his first prototype, the Barrett
4 months
M82,
later.
named for its year of design.
That is pretty freaking quick. Okay, so
To
yeah.
mitigate the heavy recoil
Makes
from
sense.
the 50
So yeah, I knew it was around the 80s, 82 probably. I could have extrapolated that if I put any thought into it. So yeah, it's not as old as some of the other firearms, but again, it became iconic very, very quickly because even like, I mean, well before I joined the military, like when I was playing Call of Duty back in like 2007 or what have you, like everybody knew what the Barrett 50 cal was. So to gain that kind of notoriety in like what, 10, 15 years to the point where everybody knew it in like 20 years later, yeah, it definitely goes to show this thing was putting in some work.
BMG round, the barrel is crowned with a colossal muzzle brake, which
That's
redirects
iconic.
propellant gases backwards, significantly reducing the felt force. The recoil that remains is distributed through buffers, springs, and the weight of the weapon itself, resulting in a surprisingly manageable weapon. A
It's
second
also
prototype was
super
shown at
heavy
a gun show in
itself,
Houston,
so-
where Barrett was able to secure starting capital for a business. Barrett Firearm Manufacturing was born, and an initial production of 30 rifles began.
Damn, okay.
Sales were slow to begin with. Turns out the civilian market for a 50 caliber rifle priced at $3,000 in the 1980s is small.
What is that today?
There wasn't much in the way of competition, however,
Jeez.
and the combination of a powerful cartridge, recoil mitigation, and a man-portable package opened up interest to a rather specialized market.
The rich gun people?
The CIA
Okay.
procured an undisclosed number of Barrett's rifles for use by the Mujahideen in the Soviet-Afghan War.
What?
Quite what they did with them isn't well documented, but it's likely they caused some trouble for the Soviets.
No kidding. What
A small number of Barrett...
You got freaking Mujahideen getting this, getting these 50s before like the conventional military? What the heck? That's so odd. I mean, okay. It is a CIA, so they, do whatever and they kind of get things before other people, but geez Louise. You can imagine that probably sparked a pretty big interest in acquisition once some people in country were seeing the effects of it.
Light 50s also found their way into the provisional IRA's hands in the mid-80s.
Damn,
notable for use in the
trouble.
South Armagh sniper campaign during the Troubles.
Okay,
In 1989,
I think I knew that,
the
actually.
Barrett Light 50 was
I've heard about
adopted
that
by the
before.
Swedish Army in an anti-materiel role.
Damn,
In
okay,
1990,
Swedes ahead of the game.
the United States Armed Forces did the same, designating
Before
it
we did.
the Special Applications Scoped Rifle
Oh, yeah,
and
the Sasser.
deploying it during the Gulf War.
Hell yeah.
When paired with the Raufoss Mark II 11 round, which features a tungsten penetrator core, explosive charge, and incendiary tip, there are few targets this rifle can't tackle.
Jeez.
The naysayers were wrong. Ronnie Barrett's initial sketch had found its purpose, and Ronnie became one of only 7 individuals to design a firearm adopted by the United States military in the last century.
Really? I mean, I guess, yeah, the U.S. military doesn't really do anything too crazy. Once they get like a general design, they kind of just stick with that for as long as they can. But, okay, so Garand, Stoner, okay. So we have the AR, we got the Thompson, we have the Garands. Barrett's Browning, okay. Who the heck is Melvin Maynard Johnson Jr. and Eugene? Man, for a gun guy, I figured I would know these, but somehow I don't. I need to Google this real quick. Okay, I was expecting cooler guns. Yeah, okay. I understand why I didn't know those. Again, I'm triggering a lot of people right now. Forgotten Weapons is probably pissed if he's watching this.
Century. The first variant, known as the Light 50 or M82, was modified slightly in 1986 with the M82A1, which came with flip-up iron sights and a larger muzzle brake.
That's
In
the only
1987, there was
change.
the M82A2,
Okay.
a bullpup reconfiguration of the rifle,
What the heck?
designed for firing from an upright position, such as when engaging a helicopter. The M82A1M was the version.
It was only bullpup so you could shoot it up at helicopters? What? I mean, I wouldn't want to shoot that thing at all. I don't know. I don't care what kind of material you have here. There's no way that's going to be comfortable. It's like a freaking RPG or something.
Copter.
What the
The
heck?
M82A1M was the version designed for the US military, with a Picatinny rail, rear grip, and monopod socket.
Okay.
This
there you
variant
go.
was later designated the M107 by the US Armed Forces and the M82A3 by the US Marine Corps.
Marine Corps always
There were
has to
some
be
bolt
different.
action variants too, the first being the M90 in 1990, followed by the improved M95 in 1995.
Yep.
The
Battlefield.
move to a bolt action variant was spurred
where I
by
learned
the
that
US
gun.
Army's initial desire to select a bolt action weapon for the M107 role. In fact, the Barrett M95 was initially selected as the XM107 before a decision was made to drop the bolt action requirement, and the M82 was adopted instead.
I wonder why they wanted bolt action.
More recently, there's the
specifically. It was already
XM500,
semi-auto.
introduced in 2006. It's a lighter and more compact derivative of the M82 in a bullpup configuration. While 50 BMG has always been Barrett's signature caliber, there have been other offerings due to differing needs and the potential legal restriction of the cartridge in some regions.
Okay.
For instance, there's
What
the
the
Model
heck?
98B, introduced in 1997, chambered
That's a cool
for
rifle.
.338 Lapua Magnum, and the MRAD, or Multi-Role Adaptive Design, which
Yep.
supports a wide range of cartridges.
Seen that in
via a
Ukraine already.
field-changeable barrel.
Another
Today,
slick
Barrett's
rifle.
rifles are used by over 50 nations worldwide, with the original 50 cal design the most prominent.
That's cool.
Such is its status that in 2016, the Barrett M82 was named as the official state rifle of Tennessee.
Of course it was.
The rifle's imposing presence has also helped secure its place on screen, and the Barrett starts turning up in movies from the late 1980s.
Okay.
Perhaps the most notable early appearance is in 1987's RoboCop, where the Barrett is styled into a futuristic-looking experimental weapon called the Cobra Assault Cannon.
I don't remember the
Impressively
name. That's
large,
funny, though.
the weapon sports a high-tech scope and fires explosive rounds with a predictably Hollywood effect.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I forgot about that.
Since then, the Barrett has turned up in
legendary.
films seeking an impressive-looking sniper rifle. It was a relatively rare sight in the 90s, but it became more popular post-2000 with appearances in Shooter, The Hurt Locker, and the 2008 Rambo. This later surge in popularity correlates with a greater interest in military matters, spurred by the contemporary Iraq War, which dominated news. Another key factor in the relevance and recognition of the Barrett in media was an increased depiction in video games.
1998, okay. That sounds about right.
The earliest games that feature the Barrett in any prominent sense are the tactical military shooters of the early 2000s.
It's like so unsatisfying
such as
to
Ghost
shoot
Recon and Delta Force. These games tend to offer a range of military hardware so that you can tackle missions in different ways, and the Barrett fits logically at the top of the sniper rifle tree. The weapon is always equipped with a scope.
That's true. In video games now, whenever... Okay. And now, like, the Barrett or whatever, like, 50 cal equivalent is always, like, the sniper rifle you unlock last because it's, like, always super powerful or, like, one-shot kill. I'm not sure if that's still true nowadays. I might be dating myself. I haven't really played many shooters recently, to be honest.
As befits its intended long-range role, and the large size of the Barrett is conveyed with a view model that occupies a significant part of screen real estate. The distinctive muzzle brake caps off the barrel's length, and almost without exception, the virtual 50 caliber round will take out enemies with just a single shot.
Yep, of course.
The early tactical shooters had a hardcore fan base, but over the coming years, more casual FPS genres exploded in popularity, bringing a modern arsenal, Barrett included, to a much wider audience.
Hell yeah.
Battlefield 2 staked this claim in 2005, but it was Call of Duty 4 a couple of years later that really heralded the start of a new FPS era.
For real.
The modern military shooter.
Dude, yes,
this was the Barrett's time to shine, and COD 4 put it directly in the spotlight during its memorable Pripyat mission.
Shoulder fired, it was like
kill,
insane recoil.
You take up a hidden position with an emplaced Barrett M82, and are tasked with making a critical long-range shot on a target during a narrow window of opportunity.
How far was it?
The bullet travel time...
meters? 900 meters for a 50 cal is like not really that impressive. I mean, I guess it is still a big bullet, so of course you need to factor it in. But like now that I've actually fired rifles, and now that I'm looking at it, like 900 meters, it's substantial enough to definitely push around. But like some of the stuff you see in this mission are like insane. Like the wind's blowing, and it just goes like that.
Direction and strength all play a key role in delivering the 50 caliber round on target. But firing reveals your position, hence the mission title.
Jeez.
Once compromised, the Barrett proves its worth one last time before your hasty getaway.
Oh,
a crucial time as you down an incoming helicopter.
One shot.
It's a memorable sequence and a favourite mission of many. So, of course, the Barrett was usable in multiplayer too, where its immense power and satisfying report secured favour with snipers who sought the utmost in stopping power.
The vocabulary.
Call of Duty would be immensely popular in the years that followed, with numerous sequels and no shortage of imitators. Along with them, the Barrett would see frequent return. The Barrett is normally presented as the most powerful conventional weapon in games that feature it. Of the already mighty sniper rifle category, the 50 cal reigns as an undisputed king.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty hard not to like it, especially since in like every video game it is like that one-shot kill, which makes sense. I mean, it's a 50 BMG, so it is nice to be able to get that reliable gun. In like whatever video game you play, that gun, that Barrett 50 cal is almost always going to be that super powerful gun that, you know, if you just hit somebody in any part of their body, that's pretty much it. Like, you're good.
Often its anti-materiel role is reflected by an elevated damage profile, hurting armored opponents or vehicles where most non-explosive options simply wouldn't work. Its depiction is at its best when it serves this rank and roll, and with a sound design that resonates with the impact a 50 caliber weapon ought to exhibit. At its best, it exudes power.
Just shoulder firing it
It's
constantly.
not all good news, though. In the name of balance, the potency is tempered with heft. It's a large, heavy weapon to wield, and so this often means your movements are slowed and actions made deliberate. The chunky magazine is seated home with a satisfying pivot, and the first round chambered with a purposeful pull on the bolt handle.
It sounds so springy when you actually rack it.
The game reminds you.
It's not that
And if you want to
satisfying.
effectively apply it, a degree of patience is essential.
Jeez.
It's all worth it, though, for the base gut punch of the shot and the powerful satisfaction of one shot, one kill. As the dust settles,
Damn.
all that remains is the echo.
Nice. Dude, the writing
The Barrett
is so
is an
freaking
impressive
good.
weapon on all fronts. From its alarming size, the reach and potential of its round.
And that's true, because you'll get like the biggest dude just like lumbering that thing around. Because yeah, you're not gonna be making like very long range. You hopefully shouldn't be making very long range movements with that thing, because it's gonna be brutal.
And the technical feat of taming its recoil. It fills a role that many didn't realize existed, but Ronnie Barrett's initial inspiration propelled him to an upper echelon of American arms designers. Today, there are other 50 caliber rifles, but the Barrett will always be the original Light 50.
I don't know why they
it's
called it
overkill.
the Light 50 at
Perhaps
first. So
a
weird.
conventional rifle would do just fine, but perhaps you want to be ready for an exception.
Just
the
blasting
Barrett 50 cal.
helicopters.
Uncompromised, unyielding,
Jeez.
unstoppable.
Got him.
Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and this is why I love this channel so much, especially with this series. It's like impossible not to get hyped about that firearm. Regardless, even if it's like something boring, they can find the most boring gun ever, like a high point pistol or something, and they can make it sound really cool. And that's that's saying a lot, because you know they can get the history, they can get like all these cool animations in, they can see how it's progressed to what it is today in like movies and video games. It's awesome. And again, the writing is just unparalleled. It's some of the best content that I can rely on YouTube. It's just awesome to come back to these. Of course, I'll put the original video down in the description. Definitely go and check out his channel, because there's a lot of really solid videos. And if you guys haven't checked out the other ones from the Iconic Arms series, just go ahead and go down below, check out his channel, and check those out, because yeah, they are some great videos. But yeah, the Barrett 50 cal, of course, it's super legendary. If you got to like shoot it, of course, it's like pretty exciting. A little bit like you might get a little nervous firing for the first time, because it is just so powerful. Like when you fire a gun for the first time, you feel powerful, and you can fire all the guns you want. But then when you go to a Barrett 50 cal, again, you kind of get that nostalgia, that feeling back. Like it's a freaking monster of a firearm. But yeah, of course, it's a legendary. We've seen it in a bunch of different video games, bunch of different movies, and for good reason. It's like the Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum or like the Desert Eagle, just these insanely powerful things in like a relatively, manageable package. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Of course, it is an Ahoy video, so I think you definitely enjoyed it, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the commentary as well. I'm kind of just like nerding out by all the cool stuff we're seeing. But yeah, if you guys did, of course, hit that thumbs up, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Recommend any other stuff down below. And again, I do appreciate you guys for recommending this to me, because I think like a couple hours after it was uploaded, several people had already sent it to me, which is awesome. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that. So definitely stay on top of your game. But that is it for this video. I'll see y'all in the next one.